Hey guys, it's Papa Mish, and this video is dedicated to the cycle training that Black Sabbath did. A 7-year long journey of playmaking cycle. Let's see if it was worth it, and I'm gonna reveal all the cards, my plan, my budget, my the way my initial core trainees looked, how did I train them, what did I do wrong, and what did I achieve, and we'll see if we enjoyed it, if it was worth it, and what to do for the future. So let's start. Black Sabbath was established as all second teams in May 2013, and I decided to start my second team also in Israel, in my beloved community. I was really thinking about starting my second team in a smaller country to gain big competitive play. And a lot of managers who did this back in 2013 eventually had super strong teams, won a lot of titles, played long runs, and even won the Hat-Trick Masters. There was a period when most of the teams winning Hat-Trick Masters were playing in smaller countries back from 2013. And I had plays reserved in a small country. It was in Palestine, and my team was called SOT, Seed of Trust. But before the teams were registered, I switched it back to Israel opening Black Sabbath because I thought that the schedule would suit me. That would be nice to play with two teams in the same country, and I could use the youth academy and my team also to help the national team and the under 21 team. It was back under 20 team, and eventually that was decided. It was local season 36, and only at local season 45, 10 seasons later, I started my playmaking cycle, which I did the video about. In those first 10 seasons, I was accumulating starting budget and using the team to help the under 20 national team. And I had a youth academy player eventually going and playing for the under 21. That was quite nice. Then I sold them and started my cycle training as my three musketeers were promoted from the youth academy. So let's take a look. There is a difference between what I was suggesting in my playmaking cycle video, not to confuse with the complex midfield, but with the playmaking cycle, and what I did in Black Sabbath. And I'm not saying that what I did in Black Sabbath was better, it was just different, and for some things, I think it was worse. So, the suggested training plan for the playmaking cycle, which is pretty simple. It's 2 seasons of defense, 4 seasons of playmaking, 1 season of scoring, 2 of passing, 4 of playmaking, and you could complete scoring, passing more. What I did is starting with half a season of wing, then a season and a half of scoring, 3.5 playmaking, 3.5 passing, 2.5 playmaking, and then I went and did a mix of passing, scoring, defense, and playmaking. So to compare them, I had less defense, initially less playmaking, but eventually more playmaking. After 30, I trained a lot of playmaking as well. Half a season of wing, which is not included at all, passing and scoring. I would say from now, just from the start, the half seasons of wing that I did was because 2 of my core trainees were promoted half a season before the last one. And I wanted all of them to gain all the crucial skills of playmaking, passing, scoring, and defense together. To not have 2 of them being in a higher level than the third one. And I thought, okay, I'll give them half a season of wing. That would be beneficial. Maybe sometimes I play 2 of them towards the wing to gain wing attack. I never used this. I barely, maybe a few times. That was not that important. It's a feeling that I just threw away half a season of training for nothing. It was better to train them in set pieces or probably defense, because my players didn't have enough defense compared to today's standard inner midfielders. They had other advantages, but not defense. So I promoted my three musketeers, Athos, Porthos, and Aramis at the age of 17. Athos, the best one, was 7 defense, 4 playmaking, 3 wing, 5 passing, and 5 scoring. All 3 of them had specialty players, and the skills are shown as you could see above. I bought my half-baked players almost immediately as I started my cycle plan. I thought it's okay that I'll have 2-3 seasons difference in age, because I'll buy them with better scoring and better passing, and then I could give all 6 players the same training, which was 1.5 seasons of scoring, 3.5 seasons of playmaking, 3.5 seasons of passing. I bought them all Israeli players to save up salaries for the future for 8 million euros total for all 3 of them, 1.3, 2.6 and 4.2. 2 of them were quick, 1 of them was technical. It was before they nerfed technical speciality, and their scoring was 11, 13, 12, and passing was also higher than my inner midfielders because I wanted them to be with higher passing. That's it. They did not have wing at all, as you could see here. I trained all this, then I bought my 2 wingers. There were English wingers at the age of 25, and then later I found another one at the age of 26. Their initial playmaking was 14 and 15. Their initial wing was almost 18 and 16, which is a bit low in today's standards. He was compensating this with slightly higher passing. So the quick one cost me about 10 million euros. The unpredictable cost me about 12.5. Not so bad in today's standards. Not to speak about the super extra unnecessarily expensive winger that I bought at the age of 21 with today's Sherlock that cost me like both of them combined, but sore point, we will not speak about this. I was training all my 8 players, inner midfielders, forwards and wingers in passing, and then I needed to round up my team as I became stronger and moved up the divisions. The roundup I needed to do in defense and goalkeeping. So I bought 2 wingbacks with 16 defense, 14 wing unpredictable for a nice price of 4.6. Then a national team player, if I'm not mistaken, from Egypt, 17 defense, powerful player to do man marking, nice midfield of playmaking 9 and wing 13. For 10.7 million, but he was a beast in experience. My goalkeeper was a Polish goalkeeper, 20 goalkeeping, 14 defense, 15 set pieces. Couldn't find someone better at that age. It cost me 13.2 mil. And another defense player was 17 defense, 12 wing, and he was my set piece taker with 19 set pieces. My center defender was a local player, 17 defense, 15 playmaking. I was very, very happy to buy him for 7.2 mil. And the last one, not at the beginning, but eventually I sold my technical player, my TDF, because he needed something different for the national team, and national team do not suffer from man marking. At the time I sold him, he was 2,515 potential ability points. He was a beast. So I bought a powerful player, PNFs. They are a thing. He was 17 scoring, 15 passing, 7 playmaking. I trained him in playmaking. I think eventually he was even 10 playmaking, something like this. Initial budget. I started with initial budget of 50 million. My half-baked players at the beginning cost me 8 mil. 22.6 for the half-baked players, and then I started rounding it up with 50 million. All this cost me 50 million at the age of 29. At the top division, with me selling my TDF for 10 million, I was able to round up and straighten my team even more, investing 32 million in the Premier Division, buying 22 to 35, 32 and a half, 35, 33 and a half, 34 and 34-year-old players. So it was way deep in my run in the Premier Division. I was already competing for titles and in the Masters and so on. So I bought another defender, 17 defense, 15 wing, another one 16-14, another winger 15-17 wing, another winger 16-17 wing, and another forward of scoring 17, passing 15. So overall, rounding it up when I could, eventually throwing all remaining budget that I have and earned to increase my competitive play as much as I can. Here, let's see how my players looked at their prime. So, I'm only showing the players I actually trained for the majority of the playmaking cycle. So at the age of 30, my best inner midfielder, he was defense 9. I did pop him 2 levels of defense. Playmaking 18 and a half, wing 8, which I never used. Passing 15, that's quite high for an inner midfielder, and also scoring 10. He played overall 30 games for the national team and 8 games in the Hat-Trick Masters, and he won a silver medal in the World Cup. He helped Israel reach the final of the World Cup, where they lost to Austria. He wasn't playing in the final, maybe that's what happened, but he did play in the semi-final, winning the right to have a silver World Cup trophy on his prize shelf. My 2 other inner midfielders, defense 8, 18 and a half playmaking, 15 passing, 9 scoring, 15 games in the national team, and the other one 8 games in the national team, and yeah, pretty much the same ratings. My forwards, I think I could have done better. They were all local players to save up salaries, which is nice. But scoring 14, yeah, it's compensated with passing 16 and playmaking 16, playmaking 17, passing 15, scoring 15. Like, great players. This one even played 5 games in the national team, but compared to what I think we could do here, the scoring is really low. So they were mainly used as defensive forwards. I was gaining a lot of midfield. I think I could control midfield in almost any game against anyone, home and away. And my inner midfielders, being attacking inner midfielders, could contribute tremendously to my attack ratings. If I wanted to play one of my inner midfielders with an attacking order, he would increase my attack by almost a level. So this is huge. 3 players, inner midfielders, playing offensively, and I increase my attack by about 2.5 levels. This is insane. But my forwards were weaker than we could have done. My wingers were 17 playmaking, almost 18 wing. He played for the national team for 19 games for England. Also had 9 caps for under 21. My other English winger, he was 18 playmaking, but only 16 wing. Nice passing, but played only one game for the national team. Probably there were better players than him. My best performance with Black Sabbath. You could see it here. 5 games above 600. So I joined the 600 club 5 times. Also, one game was super close with 599, and one of them were also very, very close with 597. Of all of those games, I think only 2 were mods. This 606 and the 627. So, my best performance with Black Sabbath when the team wasn't at the prime. At 2021 here, I was playing a demotion match to stay in the Premier Division because I had a very terrible luck. So I scored 627. Probably could have done even more. I have it here for you. Those are my top performances. So this is my best game. The demotion promotion match, 352, and I see that even one of my musketeers was probably either injured or in a bad form. So it was a mods here, 627. My second best game, this game with 617. Here I was at my prime. I was playing at home, and I could have produced amazingly strong ratings here. It was 617, but first of all, it was a normal. I didn't play mods. Just think about, I am playing mods here. We're increasing the ratings by probably 20, 25, 30 rating. And also I did a man marking. So man marking also costs you about 20, 25 head stats. So without the man marking, it's not a 617, it's around 600, maybe 40. And with the mods, it could be up to 660, 670. I was thinking about maybe going all the way, showing incredible ratings, maybe trying to break the world record here, but it was my first season in the Premier Division. I yet have to win a title at that point, and I thought that securing a very important victory and also breaking the 600 head stats barrier was good enough for me. I didn't need to maybe compromise my season and potential title just for a very, very high score. That's it. Going back to the stats. So as you could see here, a lot of very, very high ratings and so on. And this is my rating improvement. The cycle training started at season 45, ended at season 64. We could see here the progression of my ratings throughout the game. At age 17, it was only 148. I was playing in the 5th division. Nothing too interesting. I was training 5% stamina when it was allowed. At season 51, they changed it and didn't allow you to train 5% stamina anymore, so I was forced to increase it. And you could see here that as my players age, I'm promoting in the leagues. I promoted to the 4th division at the age of 25, and pretty straight up at the age of 26, my players were already playing in the 3rd division. At the age of 29, I promoted to the 2nd division, and at the age of 31, I promoted to the Premier Division, immediately winning 2 titles. I played 4 more seasons in the Premier Division, finishing 6th, 2nd, 6th, and 8th when I demoted. One of the things people argue against cycle training is the fact that you are not always competitive. But that's just a matter of perspective. Maybe we as cycles are looking at the peak of our cycle to say, hey, we're gonna be competitive there. But that just means we're gonna be super competitive. And from this perspective, I was quite dominant. When I reached the Premier Division, I won 2 championships in a row with a 10-point margin above second place here, and also a 10-point margin in the next season. Then I had a quite a rough season 61, when I finished only sixth. But if we are looking at the expected results, you could see that I was robbed 6 points, and other teams were very, very lucky, like the champion Ramati Shine. He was lucky by 7 points. So that different made the switch, and I should have finished actually first in this season. And also in season 62, when I finished second, I pretty much received what I needed, and I was -1 in the luck standard. But the eventual champion, he had almost 9 points of good luck, and he won the championship by 1 point ahead of me, and I should have won that title as well. Another quite unlucky match for me was the cup final. I reached the cup final and I lost it 4-5. But the eventual replays were 64 in my favor and only 36 in my opponent's. That's a friend of mine, so I'm happy that he won a title. He played a complete Norwegian formation with center attack and without defense at all. And also I was quite unlucky, as we went to overtime, and after I did my third substitution, I had an injury. So actually I played the whole overtime, one player less, and that was tough. Also in the Hat-Trick Masters, in my first season in the Hat-Trick Masters, I made a wonderful run, reaching the quarterfinals. I had only one lucky result against Viajapura Vipers, winning all other games deservedly. And then in the quarterfinals against TSV Grenau, I also was favored, 61 for me, 39 for him, winning midfield and defense attack ratings, but unfortunately losing this game on penalties, and couldn't promote to the semi-final. Also, I was pinning that match. I was saving my mods for semi-final TS trick and another mods in the final. So I felt like I have one more bullet to fire, and I was prevented that option. Next season, I was eliminated at round 2 of the Hat-Trick Masters, losing 2-4 to Sub-Zero, also having better replays, 59 for me, 41 for him. Speaking about competitiveness during the cycle training, as we said, people argue, hey, you cyclers, you're only competitive for 4, 5, 6 seasons, and that's it. And I would say most of those people, they are not competitive with 500, 600 head stats ratings for a long period of times. Maybe they are consistently playing with 400, 500 head stats, and that's it. So if we look at the best league performance that Black Sabbath had, so yeah, when my players are 17-year-old, 18-year-old, 19, 20, so my head stats are only 150, 180, 150, 200. But then, since my players are reaching the age of 21, 22, ratings are starting to climb quite significantly. Almost 250 head stats at the age of 21, 22. And this is with maximum training and non-competitive stuff. At the season of 51, my ratings increased to 350, and they didn't drop. And I was also managed to win the Consolation Cup at that season, which was quite nice. Then ratings kept increasing. 2 seasons after this, I was breaking 400 head stats. and then I was approaching 500 and so on. So this is the competitive period. I won 2 titles and a consolation prize. I reached the Hat-Trick Masters quarterfinals. Was very close going further. Unfortunately, it couldn't be helped. Um, I feel that I missed 2 titles in the league, as the replays and the luck tables show that I deserve those titles, and also I lost 1 cup final when I had better replays. Both semi-finals that I lost in the cup were also with much better replays, but that's it. Black Sabbath was very competitive, played very very well, but was short a little bit. Here it's a table just to compare the peak periods of Black Sabbath and Sherlock and their first run. Sherlock's peak performance was at the years 2014-16, and Black Sabbath was 6 years later, 20 to 22. Overall, Sherlock won 6 titles, 4 leagues, 2 cups, one of them being a double. Black Sabbath won only 2 titles. In the Masters, Black Sabbath reached further than Sherlock. Sherlock reached the 5th round, where they lost. Sabbath reached the quarterfinal. It's round number 6 when they lost. Rating: Sherlock's best performance in their previous period, not now, is 581 head stats. Black Sabbath made 627. Max defense was pretty much equal for both of them, 23 compared to 23. Max midfield for Sherlock was 18, Sabbath did 21. Max attack, Sherlock was 18 and a half, because I was using mainly wing attack and neglecting completely the center attack. Black Sabbath did 21 and a half. The average age of my players when reaching the Premier Division, it was very young for Sherlock back then. 27.5-year-old, and I already reached the Premier Division, but probably the competition was weaker and people didn't know how to build super strong teams as they know today. Black Sabbath reached the Premier Division at the age of 31.5. I feel it's a little bit older, could have done it 1 season prior, because 1 season before I promoted to the Premier Division, I was already producing the highest ratings in the country. So should have promoted a little bit earlier. Sherlock played 8 seasons in the Premier Division, 7 of them being competitive. Black Sabbath played all 6 competitive seasons in the Premier Division. And this is just some fan fiction. October 2020, my team was at their peak, and I was, as we all, playing with the match simulator. And on perfect conditions, when my team spirit was 10 and my team confidence was 9. So you could never play this in an actual match, because you are reaching the league match with team spirit of 8.8, 8.9, not 10. But I had 700 head stats at that game. So this is crazy. 703 head stats on a fictional day when everyone is playing towards the middle. Midfield was almost 27, and that was pretty nice. So probably even without even without the team spirit 10, it was still something like 24 and a half midfield, and the ratings were very high, 600 and something. So what's the future of Black Sabbath? It's been a while. The cycle ended in 2022. We're at 2024. So I just delayed a little bit this video, but as my team was getting older, I had 2 nice players promoted from the youth academy in 2022. And the first one was Uriel Moshkovich. And this player has the same surname as a very famous and legendary Israeli mod. Her name is Shlomit. And that's why I made his nickname Moda. It's also like fashion, but also as a tribute to her. Like in Hebrew, we weren't calling her mode, we were calling her moda, because it's like the way you pronounce mode for in a feminine way. And after this, I had another super good winger promoted from the youth academy. So they are basically like my twins. So if I had the musketeer the musketeer project with Atos, Portos, and Aramis, which the three of them, all three of them, are my current scouts. So I see them every week, and I call them, and they are giving me new players. So those two wingers, they are quick wingers. They have about 2150 potential, which is good. Tony, should have called him Tommy, but he was promoted from the youth academy and got his name change. This name I changed to Moshkovich, also in tribute of Shlomit. This one is the real OG Moshkovich. Um, so he was promoted before my second son, Tommy, was born. If I knew, maybe I would change it. But that's it. This will be my complex wing cycle. I don't have a video about the complex wing cycle, but basically it means I want to do a midfield cycle, a complex midfield cycle. But instead of doing 4 weird seasons of defense, playmaking, passing, and then buy wingers after 4 seasons, I'm just training wingers for 4 seasons, and then I'm buying 3 inner midfielders and completing and continuing the complex playmaking cycle. But this is the under 21 version, because for the under 21 they need a little bit of playmaking. So I switched for 1 extra season of playmaking when they reached 16 wing. After the under 21 campaign will be over, I'll go back to complete wing up until 18, and then I buy my 3 inner midfielders. I will be forced to look for them with higher initial playmaking, because they would be needing to have an extra season of training put into them. So probably a little bit harder to find on the transfer market, but that's it. I only have 2 homegrown players here, and I'm really fine with this. I'm using all my remaining spots to earn as much money as possible. After selling all my players in 2022, I barely had, I think, I have a stats here. I had, yeah, you could see. My budget was something like 25 million. That's nothing. So since then, I'm just training a little bit for profit. Right now I have 21 million cash, 15 in reserves. Estimated player value without those 2 wingers is 50 mil. So my overall budget is 86, but I only have 2 core players, and that's it. So I'll need to buy more players than I bought before. I'll just go with the flow. Let's have fun. And that's pretty much it, guys. It was quite long, so hope you enjoyed it. Overall, Black Sabbath did this amazing journey of 7 years, about 20 20 cycle seasons, from age 17 to age 36, and now being my 3 scouts. That's the playmaking cycle, my 3 Musketeer project. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, Hattrick, it's more than a game, it's a community. If you have any questions, please write me in the comment section. I really appreciate you watching. That's a long video, so I hope it's insightful, interesting, intriguing, and will help you tweak your cycle trainings accordingly. See you next time.